Welcome to this installation video 1 about how to efficiently do a general installation of the Danfoss GBCT 140 bar ball valve for CO2 transcritical refrigeration systems. The GBCT installation is split into 4 small videos, which includes video 1 showing correct valve orientation and location, valve installation examples, and demonstrating correct valve opening and closing. Video 2 showing how to correctly brace the GBCT valve with copper connections and without access port into piping. Video 3 showing how to correctly brace the GBCT valve with copper connections and with access port into piping. And video 4 showing how to correctly weld the GBCT valve with stainless steel weld ends into piping. In these videos, we'll give you important installation tips ensuring your safe and reliable system operation. So go ahead and check out the GBCT installation video, which will meet your needs. In this GBCT installation video 1, we will show you warnings related to installation of the GBCT valve, give you an overview of the GBCT valve portfolio and the effect on the valve installation, and demonstrate the GBCT valve function and design related to a correct valve installation. We will also specify the technical specifications related to installation of the GBCT valve, show you unpacking and what is included in the GBCT valve delivery, and demonstrate correct orientation and location of the GBCT valve. Finally, we will show you some GBCT valve installation examples in the refrigeration system, and demonstrate how to open and close the GBCT valve in relation to the valve installation. When installing the GBCT valve, it is very important to pay special attention to the given warnings. Here you see listed warnings related to installation of the GBCT valve, which you can also find in the GBCT valve datasheet and installation guide. We will later in this video show you how to do a correct valve orientation and location according to the warnings specified here. The general GBC ball valve portfolio consists of the different valves specified here. As seen, there are many GBC valve versions available to suit most refrigeration applications. In this series of GBCT valve installation videos 1 to 4, we will focus on the GBCT ball valve 140 bar version for CO2 transcritical systems, as highlighted here. You can find more information in the different GBC datasheets and installation guides, which are available on danfoss.com. The GBCT valve portfolio includes the following versions: GBCT valve with copper connections and without access port, GBCT valve with copper connections and with access port, and GBCT valve with stainless steel weld ends. As seen here, and as mentioned earlier in this video, then there are separate online bracing and welding videos available for these different GBCT valve versions. You can also find more information in the GBCT datasheet and installation guide. Here you see a sectional view of the GBCT valve showing the valve parts. Once the cap is removed, then you can rotate the spindle and ball to open and close the valve. As mentioned earlier in this video, then the valve body comes with copper connections or stainless steel weld ends so that the valve can either be braced or welded into piping. As also mentioned earlier, then the GBCT valve comes without or with an access port, here shown with the access port, also specified as a shredder valve. This shredder valve should not be installed while bracing or welding the GBCT valve into piping. This we show more in details in the other online GBCT valve installation videos. You can also find more information about the function and design in the GBCT datasheet and installation guide. It is very important to observe and install the GBCT valve according to the relevant technical specifications given for this valve. Here you see some of the main technical specifications of the GBC valve family, including the GBCT valve. The technical specifications which are relevant to a correct and safe installation of the GBCT valve are specified on the box label and the product label as seen here in these examples for a GBC valve, and they are part of the marking on the GBCT valve body as seen here in this example. We will not go into details here with these technical specifications, since you can find more information in the GBCT datasheet and installation guide. The different GBCT valve versions are delivered in the same type of box with ID box label as seen here with these examples. When unpacking the GBCT valve, you find the following included in the delivery. One-piece GBCT valve with a hanging warning tag fixed to the valve. One-piece GBCT valve installation guide. Please note that for the GBCT valve versions with access port, including a shredder valve, then this shredder valve is not installed in the GBCT valve, but delivered in a separate plastic bag, as seen here. The shredder valve should not be installed by bracing or welding the GBCT valve into piping. As mentioned earlier, we show this in more details in the other online GBCT valve installation videos. You can also find more information in the GBCT datasheet and installation guide. The GBCT valve can be oriented in any angular direction in a refrigeration system as specified here. You can find more information in the GBCT datasheet and installation guide. When locating the GBCT 140 bar valve in a CO2 transcritical refrigeration system, it is very important, as illustrated here, to ensure that the high pressure side of the refrigerant flow enters the valve HP side and leaves the valve LP side. This ensures that the GBCT valve internal sealing is correct in closed position. As seen earlier and shown here again, then the HP and LP sides of the GBCT valve are specified on the GBCT valve body marking. Please note that if the high pressure side of the refrigerant flow is entering the GBCT valve LP side, as illustrated here, then the refrigerant pressure will push the valve ball towards the valve HP side and create some internal leak path through the bleed hole in the valve ball. You can find more information in the GBCT datasheet and installation guide. Another very important thing when locating the GBCT 140 bar valve in a CO2 transcritical refrigeration system is to ensure that the GBCT valve LP side is oriented towards any components which are to be serviced. As illustrated here in this example, such GBCT valve orientation should be from both sides of the service component, since such component will be exposed to the ambient pressure, which is lower than the refrigeration system pressure. We'll show this in more details in the following. You can also find more information in the GBCT datasheet and installation guide. Here is an example of a CO2 transcritical refrigeration system with valves and heat exchangers to be serviced separately, marked up in 4 different locations, and by the GBCT valves are oriented and located with the LP side towards these service components, as mentioned earlier in this video. In this example, all the GBCT valves are closed in these locations so that the service components can be serviced. Here you then see the same example of a CO2 system. However, in this case, we need to service a freeway valve which is installed in a serial connection with a heat exchanger. Therefore, we need to consider the whole group of GBCT valve, the freeway valve, the heat exchanger as one unit as marked up here. And we should open all GBCT valves with the HP side pointing towards the freeway valve to be serviced, and only close the GBCT valves with the LP side pointing towards the freeway valve. We'll not go into further details here, since you can find more information in the GBCT datasheet and installation guide. Here we have the same example of a CO2 transcritical refrigeration system as just shown. This time we need to service the discharge pipeline towards the gas cooler. Therefore, we need to search in both directions of this pipeline and identify the nearest 2 GBCT valves with the LP side pointing towards the pipeline to be serviced. These 2 GBCT valves, as marked up here, should be closed, and the rest of the valves between them should be left open. As seen from the markup, it is important to notice that the 2 closed GBCT valves might not necessarily be the valves nearest to the pipeline to be serviced. Now here you see the same example of a CO2 system. However, in this case, we need to service the return pipeline from the gas cooler. Again, we need to search in both directions of this pipeline and identify the nearest 2 GBCT valves with the LP side pointing towards the pipeline to be serviced. As mentioned earlier, these two GBCT valves marked up here should be closed and the rest of the valves between them should be left open. As also mentioned earlier, and as seen from the markup, it is important to notice that the two closed GBCT valves might not necessarily be the valves nearest to the pipeline to be serviced. We'll not go into further details here since you can find more information in the GBCT datasheet and installation guide. Whenever needed, then the GBCT valve is opened as follows. Unscrew and remove the cap which protects the spindle. Use a suitable tool and rotate the spindle counterclockwise until the valve is fully open, as shown here. Do not exceed the specified max operating torque. As mentioned earlier in this video, then the GBCT valve should either be braced or welded into the piping, depending on the valve version. This we show in other online GBCT valve installation videos. Part of such installation is to ensure that the GBCT valve is always fully open during bracing or welding to allow for correct flow of protection gas. Therefore, always follow the valve opening procedure just mentioned during these GBCT installations. You can find more information in the GBCT datasheet and installation guide. Opening the GBCT valve is shown in the following sequence. Whenever needed, then the GBCT valve is closed as follows. Use a suitable tool and rotate the spindle clockwise until the valve is fully closed as shown here. Do not exceed the specified max operating torque. Mount the cap which protects the spindle. Tighten the cap with the recommended specified torque. You can find more information in the GBCT datasheet and installation guide. Closing the GBCT valve is shown in the following sequence. You have now completed the GBCT ball valve installation video 1. So now you know where to find the warnings related to the GBCT valve installation. You have an overview of the GBCT valve portfolio. You understand the GBCT valve function and design. You know the technical specifications related to installation of the GBCT valve. You have seen the unpacking and what is included in the GBCT valve delivery. You know the correct orientation and location of the GBCT valve. You have seen some GBCT valve installation examples in a refrigeration system. And you understand how to open and close the GBCT valve. All this ensuring a correct and safe system operation. Please check out the other online GBCT valve installation videos. Have a look at the other online learnings about the Danfoss ball valves. Thanks for watching.